Hey everybody, Matthew of Mr. Domestic here to introduce you all to this amazing company that I've recently become acquainted with, and that is Martelli Enterprises. This video is going to be two parts. First, I'm going to show you some of the notions that they have and what I've learned about the company so far. And then second, I'm going to show you this amazing template set that they have created for my bucket hat. And I'll walk you through how to use it and how to construct the bucket hat using the templates. So if you want to learn more about this amazing company and how to construct this bucket hat using the templates, before we get into the content, anytime you're enjoying it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So, Martelli Enterprises is a family-run and owned company out of Pensacola, Florida. They have innovative products, and in talking to David Martelli, he informed me that they don't create products that are already out there on the market. They're definitely a company that likes to innovate and produce new things. And after using a lot of their products, I've learned that they, in fact, do that. And since they're creating new things, there's a lot of education behind it. And from the education that I've gleaned from them, I've learned how to use like all of my notions better. So I'm really jazzed about that. And one thing I wanted to let y'all know, there is an affiliate link in the description here, but that's what I wanted to tell you. What I wanted to tell you, those of you who have been on the Mr. Domestic journey for a while are well aware that I don't put a product forward and I don't put a company forward unless I previously fall in love. And I definitely will not become an affiliate for them unless I've previously fallen in love. So that's what happened here. I got this table from Martelli. I became acquainted with their products, and then once I fell in love with them, we decided to establish a partnership, and this is part of it. So yay, Martelli! I'm excited about what is to come in the future, but for now, let's look at these products. So you may have seen this in my video, and this has actually become my number one probably used overall notion in my sewing room. This is such a clever design. This right here is the cutting mat, and I'm going to cut some of the things with the template later, but it has a top that you can take off and on, and this is the ironing mat. I find myself taking this in other rooms even, and I will switch it back and forth, and you'll see me do that in this video. I just find it super innovative. And I bet you if you could think of another circular thing that needed to go on here that we would use, that they would create it also. So I just find it super awesome. And then they have these ergonomic, look at it, they're different here, ergonomic rotary cutters. And once I learned how to use these properly, wow, did it change how I use every single rotary cutter in my arsenal. And I'll show you how to demo these later. And then one other thing is, these are the templates. This is an example of the template, but I have some of their other templates. I've used their half square triangle template, and it was really easy to use, and it's non-slip. Because of this innovative design that they have here, it doesn't move, it doesn't slip, and a lot of different notions out there say that they don't slip, but honestly they do. Even if you put those non-slip guards on them, they are gonna slip. These 100%, I've used a bunch of them. I'm using this one in the video, and then I've used our half square triangle one. They don't slip. So I'm really excited about potentially developing more templates with them and using these and sharing them with you in this video. So that's a little bit about Martelli, a little education. And now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video, which is the tutorial on how to create this bucket hat. So you need, I would say honestly, 2 half-yard cuts. I tried to cut using a fat quarter, one of them, my lining fabric, and I really tried to use all of the area of it, and I still needed to cut one more thing. So if you have a cut that's slightly larger than a fat quarter, that would work. Like maybe whatever's in between a half-yard cut and a fat quarter cut, but I would just get 2 half-yard cuts. And then one of them I've interfaced already. Whenever I'm using interfacing, I like to pre-interface my fabrics for the most part, unless they're like really weird cuts. I just find it to be a lot more precise and easy. And something that I've noticed is if I'll cut the interfacing and the fabric separately, even though I was really precise, somehow something gets skewed. So this is one way to ensure precision. So now let's get into this tutorial. So, this is what it comes with. It comes with 5 different templates. You only need 4 of them. These 2 right here are for the top. This will cut out the top of the hat. You need to cut 1 per fabric. Or, like, let's say you had a fabric that you wanted there to be like a really good center element here. You would fold the fabric in quarter, like fold here, and then place this here and cut the circle at the top. These are the 3 other ones. There's a brim cut here on the fold. You'll see where the fold is. A brim cut, a side cut, and a band cut. Those are the different cuts you'll need on the fold, 2 of each per side of the hat. So I'll put these aside, and now I'm going to cut. So I fold it here. Make sure that this is enough. I'm going to use as minimal fabric as possible. And this is getting the center, so I'm folding it like so. Yes. Okay. So now, right here. Ta-da! This probably isn't easier one used, so thanks, Greg, for suggesting we put this in the template. And then this is the ergonomic rotary cutter. Put your finger on here. I highly suggest using a rotating mat whenever you are cutting a curve, because then instead of moving the rotary cutter, you can move the mat. See, let me show you. Move this out of the way. Boom. That was 8 layers of fabric, essentially, folks, but let me show you. Boom. A circle. Ooh, and I like it because then right here, where it cut, there are like quarter marks. So there's like a little bit of a divot that I created because I didn't cut perfectly. That's going to help me guide the rest of it. So now I have the top. I have the top of my lining cut. Put these here. And then what is next? I think you got the idea of how to cut. I'm going to fast forward now. So now I have cut out all of the pieces, and right here, this is the band. I'm doing a band on both sides just so you can see it. This is the band for the front. No interfacing here, you don't need it. This is interfaced, this is interfaced, this is interfaced. This right here is going to go here. So we're going to start with the preparation, attaching this to this, and then I'll show you some more construction. So to prepare this part for the band for the top, what we need to do is to create like so. I'm going to estimate a 1/4 inch fold right here, like so. But if you're not good at eyeballing or estimating, then go ahead and use like a ruler or something. Ta-da! Then I'm going to do this here. Boom. Right here. And then this goes onto here. Like so. Just line it up everywhere. And now I'm going to top stitch this in place on both sides and then get started with the construction. So come with me over to Felicia. So the first thing to do is to stitch right here, top stitch. So I'm going to center the needle and then I'm going to move it this way twice. So minus, minus. And I do that so that I can just use the center thing right here as the guide. But then it's going to stitch the fold. That's a little trick. If you don't have an edge stitch foot, you can just do that. I'm going to do this on both. I'll fast forward so you don't have to watch in real time. so now I'm finished. Show you the ooh la la stitch. Ooh, gorgeous. Now, boink da boink da boink, I'm going to put these right sides together, like so. And I've moved the needle back to the first position, and I'm going to stitch using a 1/2 inch seam allowance both sides. 1 and 2. So for the top circle, I folded and folded just to create the quarter marks right here. And then I aligned these two seams together and then pressed here to create the quarter marks there for the top and the bottom. Now using 2 clips, and now using 4 clips, I'm just going to clip the circle in each of the marks. There's 1. There is the second one. There is the third and the fourth one right here. And you want to get these pretty precise because the templates are perfect, but there is a little bit of flexibility since it's a curve. You can pull on it a little. So now back over to Felicia. So anytime I'm sewing a curve, I always put the convex, which is the one that goes out curve, on the bottom, because I don't want to pull on that one. I want to pull on the concave, which looks like a cave. It's going in. And I always start these kind of seams right before an intersection right here. So I'm going to go like this, just get past that seam here. And then, if you don't have these ergonomic tweezers, you need them. I love them because I use these to sew curves. So I'm going to flatten out this curve right here and then gradually pull as I'm going, just to line these up with the edge, like so. And I found these ergonomic tweezers to be perfect. It's like it allows me to grip them perfectly, but get them out of the way. I use these tweezers when I'm binding. I use them all the time. Okay, so there's one. I'll show you doing another one in real time if curves are new for you. So you just grab that and pull it. Like so. See? You just pull it as I go, pull it as I go, pull it as I go. And then I'll get this seam and I'll do the rest in fast forward. At the sewing machine, I have stitched up all this goodness, and then now I'm going to, with the brim, stitch this. I've done one side, once again using a 1/2 inch seam allowance here. If you want to trim the excess, go for it. I usually just don't because I don't feel like it, but if you want to, go for it. And then I've already folded these marks right here, like the quarter marks. So I'm going to line those quarter marks up with these quarter marks. See, there's one right here, here. Okay, and then it's the same thing as before. Just put it on here, start right before this seam, 1/2 inch seam allowance, and stitch around. This curve isn't as sharp as the other curve, so probably won't need the tweezers for this. Yeah, I don't need it. If you pull it just a little taut, then it all straightens out. It's almost like you're sewing a straight line. have two hats essentially. See, here's one side, here's the other, and then this is what you need to do. Just take them and go to where the right side's together. Line up all of the marks. So like there's a seam here. I'm gonna line it up and clip it, and I'm still doing all 4 quarters. There's a line still here, there's a line still here. So I'm gonna go ahead and clip it. And then once I get these all done, I'm going to, with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, stitch around the brim and leave like a 2-inch gap, pull it right side out, and then stitch again. So I'll finish doing this off camera, and then let's go over to my sewing machine. So now I have, right here, and I've lined it up right here, once again starting right before the seam line, just to secure that seam. Stitch around with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And this is a highly visible part, but people are going to notice if you have a wonky brim, so try to keep this precise as possible. Now I'm towards the end, I'm going to leave that much here. So I'm going to back stitch just to secure that so it doesn't pop out. And then now, through that gap, if you've never done anything like this, there's a gap. You're going to pull all of it through, da-da-da-da-da, like so. And it's going to look like a hot dog at first. See? Ta-da! That's a weird looking hot dog. Oh, it's pretty! And then you're going to shove one of them inside. I'm shoving the one that's not interfaced on the inside. And then off camera, I am going to press all of this just to make sure that this is as flat and crisp as possible. And then I'll come back over and top stitch. And as I'm pressing, I'm also going to press this gap, and I found that if you get both sides of it and then you just pull a little bit, it will follow the natural curve in the seam. But just remember that it's a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So see, pulled, perfect. Then I'll come back after this is pressed. So now once again I am over to my sewing machine. I am going to start right here and save the gap for last. And I'm going to line that up right there again with that center thing, move it to the center point. Then once again, I'm going to move it over twice that way. And then just get started. Sorry for the shaky camera. And I am going to edge stitch right here, making sure to get through both of the hats, so don't rush it. And then I'll just do this, and I'll fast forward this so you can still watch me do it. And now I'm getting to the end right here, and see, just a little secret, you can't even tell. This right here is the gap. So I'm going to stitch this close, and no one will know where that gap ever was. It'll be a mystery. So I'm going to get to this seam, overlap it a little bit, back stitch, trim, and for all intents and purposes you could be done. However, the bucket hat, to make the brim more stable, sew rings. And how I do this, I'm going to put it back at the original position so it's all the way to the left. Then I'm going to use this stitch line as a guide and the edge of my foot as the other guide. And I'm just going to stitch in a lot of circles. So I'm going to stitch and stitch and stitch until I get as close to this as possible, and then I'll be done. So let's get some stitching done. I'll let you see it in real time at first, and then I'll fast forward. See how I'm just following that stitch line. Ta-da! We have ourselves a bucket hat. Just need to trim these threads. But we are finished. Here's one side. Let me show you. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, yes. Look at me. And then when I don't want people to see me, I just flip it over. I put on the camo side. I'll be camouflaged. No one can see me. Look. Look. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? So hopefully you enjoyed this video to learn more about Martelli Enterprises and these amazing templates that make this bucket hat construction so easy, so precise, and you can cut out multiples at the same time, make them for the whole family, make them for the whole neighborhood. Why not? Because it's super fun, super quick, and boom, 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 super stylish. So if you enjoyed this video, got a laugh or a tip or a trick, or am totally jazzed about Martelli Enterprises, make sure to check the affiliate link below. Buy lots of things. Thumbs up this video. Love, and keep it positive.